Welcome back. Next, you need to discuss about policy violations, which is referred as SOD, segregation of duties or separation of duties. This is a generic terminology or business terminology, which is highly used in identity and governance space, IGA space. If I refer to SailPoint Identity IQ, they refer it as policy violations, but they wanted to have a common terminology. Even if you look at every IGA product, end of the day it is same. The core is same. What are the services we provide to every organization is same. It's no different. Okay. So why to have different terminologies? For example, we need to read the data from a business application, right? We call it as aggregation in SailPoint products. Both Identity IQ and Identity Now, we call it as aggregation. To write the data, we call it as provisioning operations. Different products, different terminologies they are using. For example, Microsoft Identity Manager, if you take, or Entra also, I think they use import. Import means reading the data. Export is writing the data or sending the data to business application. If you take ForgeRock, there is no different terminologies for reading and writing. They'll call it as synchronization. Reading from application into ForgeRock is also synchronization, and sending data from ForgeRock to different application is also synchronization. So a different IGA product, they are using different terminologies, but I would refer to it have same terminology. It will be very easy. It's easy for us, right, to learn the products and to refer the products, but I do not know why every product they would like to have a different terminology. Okay, but SOD, it's a common terminology in every IGA product. uh, when we are having a business discussion, we will use this SOD. Okay, it depends on the product you are working on. IGA product, they might be referring as different terminologies. For example, I think in Omada IGA product, they use toxic combinations. I think so. I heard that. I didn't learn Omada yet, but I have seen the interface and it looked like SailPoint Identity IQ a bit. Okay. So why do you need this segregation of duty policy violation? Simple. A common use case what we refer as, you cannot be both requester and approver. If you request for some access and you approve for yourself, then what is the point of your requesting even, right? So self-approval should not be there. We should not give such kind of accesses. That's a conflict of access. A employee should not be both requester and approver. Okay, that is why, let's say you request for some access, it will go to your manager. When your manager requests for the access, it will go to manager's manager for the approval. Yeah, that's what we need to implement, especially if you talk about banking industry or finance or health insurance. There are chances of having a fraud. To avoid that, we always have strict regulations by implementing SOD policy violations. We will be looking at conflicting access, that not just about requester and approver. Every application, they might be having some toxic combinations or conflict of accesses, like a user cannot have this access and this access as well at a time. User can have access of on either of these two accesses, or they will have like, once I had a requirement like, total 18 roles were there in SailPoint Identity IQ for an application. So at a time, user can have only one role. They should not have another role. Either they need to remove the existing access and then get for a new access. So we implemented policy violation that, hey, you cannot have more than one role for you. Okay, so in case if you have, there are two type of policy violations we can refer to. One is data wise, second one is access. Data means, um, let's say that if you do not have a manager, that's a data policy violation. It's not there in Identity IQ, but it is there in Identity Now. Every employee should have a manager, right? So we cannot have a user or an employee without manager. Why? Problems are with approvals. Okay, that is why. And also there will be important attributes like department. If a user is missing the department, you can question me like, hey Krishna, why does that data will be missing? hey, can you trust HR team for sure, 100%? Then it's you are really in trouble. I don't trust anyone, zero trust. Especially trusting HR team is not a good idea. So, and it's not like they do intentionally or something. Of course, humans are tending to make mistakes, right? There is nothing wrong in that. We are not aliens even. So sometimes data mistakes will happen. So we need to, apply some policy violations there as well. That if an employee doesn't have manager, create a policy violation and throw it to HR team. They should correct the data, right? Like that. Second, access. Access means if a user is having more than one access, it's a conflicting of access, like that. If a user, if an access, let's say, single valued attribute, for example, if what is single valued, if user requests for one more access, it will simply override because it cannot have more than one access. It's a single valued, it will have only one value at a time. If you request for one more access, it will override, simple. In case if it is a multi-valued, it can have more than one value, so user can have more than one access at a time. So if a user request for additional access, or let's say user has access already, requesting for one more access, or user doesn't have any access at all and requesting for two accesses or three accesses at a time, it should be stopped. It should be stopped, or it should throw a violation. Why? So I would go for stopping the request itself, saying that, dude, you are violating the policy. You should not get the access, and I'll give some more information there. Why? If I allow the request, no, approvers, there are chances of 50-50, right? They might approve even, which is again policy violation for us. Let's say that user is requesting for two accesses, which will grant two licenses to the users. Or let's say user should get basic access but requesting for somewhere high level of access, which will cost additional license cost to our organization as well. Okay, so let's say that user is non-employee but requesting for employee access. We should stop that as well. So these kind of requirements you need to talk to application team. Explain them that, is there any conflicting access or toxic combinations, or do you have any policy violation, something. Definitely they will not understand. Just talk to them in simple words like, is there any requirement like user cannot have more than one access, or is there any requirement like if user has access one, then they should not have access two at a time. I mean, yeah, let's say you have five accesses, user can have more than one access at a time. But if user has access one, they should not have access two. Three and four or five is okay. It's like that, you need to explain it to them. If they have any such requirements, they will give it to you. And other than additional access, you need there might be requirements like if user is non-employee, I mean contractor, then they should not get this access. If user is an employee, then they should not get this access. Okay, and I mean it's only for contractor. Some set of access is only for employees as well, so you need to talk to them. Also department wise, location wise, there might be restrictions like, can I have restrictions, like that you can talk to them. If they have any, they will definitely tell you. Okay, so then you need to go for SOD configurations, and SOD reports as well, to get how many violations are there. So for violations, either you can stop it, or you can allow it as an exception, send it to approval. They can decide whether this employee can have access or not. Okay, so it's not like you are stopping the request. You will, if there is a violation, you can send it to violation owner for approval. They can allow the exception. Yeah, this employee needs access. Generally, it's a conflicting access, but this employee can have the access because of this valid business reason. Okay, so either you can stop the request, or you can send for approval to the violation owner, or even whoever it is, right? So you need to talk to your application team about these requirements. So how it looks like in Ident Now and Identity IQ, let me show you. So go to setup and you will see policies here. I really love SailPoint Identity IQ policy violations. It's one of the uh, very good concept implementation in SailPoint world. I don't know, doesn't have this much. Identity IQ has super cool features. There is actually one product called SAP GRC. So SAP GRC will have finance related thousands of policies are there. So they will set up, like, let's say you request for some access, we will send that request. Again, let me take a step back here. How a user will get the access? Manually or automatically? Automatically through roles, you define the criteria. There you will be careful that who should get this access, who should not get this access, so no problem. If it is request based, then employees are contract, they will request. Sometimes it might be a wrong access request even. That's where you need to take care of the policy violations to stop the request. Why? Prevention is better than cure, right? Don't think that, yeah, approvers will take the decision wisely, they will reject the request. Don't think like that. If it is so, we do not need to go for access reviews even, right? Mostly because approvers will carefully observe what is the access requested, who requested, for whom it is requested, why do they need access. They will not do this much homework every time. But I would say from the last couple of years, uh, it has become better. Approvers are not just simply approving nowadays. Okay, but as a IGA professional, it's our jobs to enforce, high compliance standards, right? It's our responsibility. So we need to go for policy violations. If a user is requesting for an access, if that user is supposed not to get that access for any business reason, we need to stop it. Okay, so those kind of policy violations or policy conditions are already defined in SAP GRC. Mostly it is meant for, I believe, business related or sorry, not business. Everything is business for us, right? I meant finance related. Okay, SAP is highly used for finance, logistics, that stuff, right? So there they have created thousands of predefined policies, it seems. So you will have a SAP GRC team as well in the organization, and then you can make use. So how it works? In SailPoint Identity IQ, we have a LCM provisioning policy. So if you go to quick links, manage access, manage user access. So here you will select the user, and next tab you select the access and submit the request. Then if you go to policies, sorry, uh, LCM workflows, not compliance manager, lifecycle manager, you see business processes for every request access, it will go to LCM provisioning workflow. So in this workflow, we can add an additional step, which to call SAP GRC uh, workflows, are nothing but we will send the request to SAP GRC. For that, you need to integrate SAP GRC application in your SailPoint, and then you can, whenever an request is submitted in LCM provisioning workflow, you can create additional step there. How it looks like: go to Setup, Business Processes, search for LCM provisioning. Yeah, LCM provisioning. You can see the process designer. So this is the out of the box workflow. So somewhere here you can add additional step that will send the request to SAP GRC. So SAP GRC will read the user access requested, everything. It will perform some analysis and it will say whether its violation is there or not. If it is violation, you will stop the request. If it is not violation, you can proceed and go for provisioning. Okay, or maybe before approvals only we should do this. Otherwise, if there is a violation, what is the point of approval even, right? Waste of time, right, for approvers as well. They'll approve, but violation is there. What is the use of it? Correct. So before approvals, we should have this SAP GRC activity step here in this workflow. So you have to spend a lot of money for SAP GRC as well, additional licenses, everything. Instead, you can go and implement policy violations in Identity IQ. So go to new policy and you see role SOD policy. What did it say? A user cannot have more than one role at a time. So it will have left side and right side. Create new rule. You see any of these role conflict with any of these rules. So you need to configure this, have the combinations. So if you have 18 roles, if user should not have more than one role, then you have to create 17 combinations. Okay, so if user has roles in this list and trying to request roles in this list, it will be violation. Okay, so similarly for entitlement SOD policy violation as well, it will work. Okay, effective entitlement SOD policy looks like new. I never used it. You can look into them. Activity policy, account policy have not used much. Advanced policy, I use this. This is the best policy. You can implement anything, literally anything you can implement. Trust me, I don't think SAP GRC thousands of policies, predefined policies you might be needed in your organization. Okay, you might be having 10, 20, 30, 40 limited policies will be there, not like thousands of predefined policies you have. Okay, so instead, if you can consolidate the requirements you have in your organization, we can build all those policy violations using this policy rule. You can build the match list or go for rule. You can build the rule and you can write any logic to stop the request. Some of the requirements I have seen or use cases I have seen. First, if a user doesn't have any access at all, if user doesn't have account in that business application, then they should not request for access. We should stop because that user should get account first. That will be a different process, it seems. Second, user cannot request for more than one access at a time. I mean, user has access already, but user can request for only one access at a time. That's also a valid scenario. User should not have more than one access at a time. So user has one access, requesting for one more access or more than one access, it should be blocked. Okay, user is from one department, should not request for this access. Employee should not request for contractor access. Non-employee should not request for employee access. This kind of requirements you can implement. Doesn't matter whatever it is. If anyone tells that Krishna, you said that advanced policy, I can implement any logic, but someone is saying that it is not possible, um, let me know. I will change his opinion that it is possible. I've implemented a lot of things in advanced policy. Okay, so you can gather the requirements, and I don't know if your technical team might say that no, it is not possible, but remember that nothing is impossible in Identity IQ. Only thing is we don't know how to do that, or we didn't try yet. Okay, keep me posted. Doesn't matter how complicated your scenario is, I will provide the solution. Okay, so let's look into I don't know, same stuff. So go to search functionality. You might wonder why we have certification or access reviews or policy violations under search functionality, because those will be implemented through search queries. That's why they brought it here. Makes sense, but it's okay to keep it outside as well. What is the harm in that? So left side you see policies option, click there. You will see all the policies which is already created. Click on create new policy. You see two type of policies in Identity. Identity IQ, we have those many policies, right? But in Identity, just two policies. One is separation of duties. Second one is general policy. So separation of duties policy. Separation of duties policy, as the name indicates, you will create two lists of access items. Any identity that has access found in one list cannot have access in another list. General policy, it's a data uh, constraints, like let's say employees without a department are entitlements that aren't in use. So you can go for those policy violations. Separation of duties, so like access you to add the list. Name your first list. Let's say list one and list two. Any name you can give, no problem, which you will understand or that this justifies the access you are adding. And then you can search for the access. Let's say I'll say star only for now. So you got all the entitlements. At the moment, only entitlements you can use in the SOD policy violations. Let's say I will add it to the list 1. Then this add to list. Next. Then you need to give the details like what is the policy name, description, external reference like documentation link that contains this policy information, tags to search for this policy like that. Policy owner, individual or governance group, and then violation owner. Policy owner is nothing but you can have always IAM team or SailPoint team. Violation owner, you can have whoever it is responsible for manager or some individual or governance group. Mitigating control correction advice, some information you are going to give it. Okay, so similarly for general policy, if you go back, it is nothing but search query only. So you can use this query, not exist manager name, then you can see the users who doesn't have the managers, and then click general policy. Next, then you give violation owner, who is the violation owner, and the details. That is how you can configure the general policy. You can build any search query and you can build the policies. Talk to your application team and get the requirements. There are two type of policy violations: prevention, detection. Prevention means when the user requests for the access, you can stop it from user getting the access in case if there is a conflict. Earlier, SailPoint Identity now was not having preventive policy violations. Recently, they released it. Identity now they released in 2025, somewhere around. In Identity IQ, it's there from the beginning. So another type is detective policy violations. So let's say that application side, if user got the access, or if user before onboarding the application into SailPoint, user got the access already. Now you have defined the policy violations. Or user requested through SailPoint only, they have access. Later point of time, you created the policy violations. So now it's not preventive, it's detective. So it can detect on existing data, and it can create the detective policy violations as well. So what will happen when the policy violation is thrown? Either the violation owner can approve the access, keep the access, say that allow exception, or they can revoke the access. Okay, so it is very good. Under compliance, we have two concepts. One is certifications, also known as access reviews, to make sure that all our organization data, our employees' data, is 100% compliant. No one is having more access. Nothing less, nothing more. They have exact access what they need. Okay. Second one is segregation of duties. So it is preventing whether before going for access reviews, which will take time to launch, right? Every quarter or every 6 months or every year, you are going to launch the access reviews. So policy violation is bit ahead of access reviews. Before user getting a wrong access, we can stop it using SOD policy violations.